Listen up, folks, I don't care what you have to say, yeah? The third Harry Potter film is the best out of all of them, hands down. You may disagree, and that's okay, but you're wrong. The Prisoner of Azkaban, yeah, is an absolute chocolate hobnob of a film. The themes explored in the film include time, death, transformation, searching for a father figure, and the most important one, becoming your own guardian. The score comments on these subjects. The Window to the Past theme, written by John Williams, is heard throughout the film. I'll be analysing scenes where the Window to the Past theme is heard to try and find out the functions of the score. There will be spoilers, so you've been warned. Hello and welcome to the Film Music Junkie. I analyse film scores to see how they are emotionally manipulating an audience. My name's Oleta, and let's just, jump out of a window and land on an empty bouncy castle. Okay, here we go. First off, what does the Window to the Past theme represent in this film? Well, it has a few different functions, yeah? From finding where it's heard in the film, I found 3 functions of this bit of music. The first function is to represent Harry's slow discovery of what his parents were like. The second is to reflect Harry's search for a father figure / guardian. And the third is Harry's epiphany that he is capable of being his own guardian. So the thing that connects all these functions together is this sentence, yeah? Discovery over time. Discovery over time. Let's do a quick analysis of the melody and harmony to see how it represents this idea of discovery over time. Discovery over time. I'm mental. First off though, I think it's fair to say that the Window to the Past theme is very lullaby-esque, and it's almost like it was Harry's mother who sung this melody to him while he was a baby boy. And that's very fitting within the context of the film. This melody is very scalic, and it sort of reminds me of, like a sea of memories. Okay, that was cheesy. Anyway, the first point, the discovery of Harry's parents' past, is what I believe the theme is representing. This melody can be split into 2 sections with 2 bars in the middle connecting them together. The first 8 bars I'd say is the discovery aspect of the theme. Then bars 9 to the end is the past section to the theme. I'm going to have to talk a bit abstractly here to explain how the movement of the melody represents discovery over time. So when one, I think I'm the only person who uses the word, when one wants to discover something either internally or externally, there's usually a path, there's like a slow build up to that discovery. It takes time to find out something. It also involves returning to your initial way of thinking, if that makes sense. Take, for example, I don't know, you think your partner is pumping Sally down the road, yeah? But you have nothing to base it on but a feeling. The thought rises and then you return to normal. Then this thought grows, which makes you want to possibly take action in the real world to see if what you're thinking is true. Then you deny it again, and then when you think about it again, the feeling, doubles, and then you're like, I think my partner is shagging Sally down the road, but I don't know what to do about it. Anyway, the melodic shape follows this path of discovery. The melody goes up a little bit, and then it returns to the tonic. The rise represents the want to discover something, and then the fall represents the return to a person's initial way of thinking. Then what happens next? There is a jump of a fourth representing the next stage of discovering something, where your thoughts are growing and you're questioning your current reality. I really hope this makes sense and it's just not my weird ideations. Okay, let's carry on. Now I'm going to compare bars 1 to 4 and then 5 to the end. They share the same rhythms. The last 2 bars are the same as each other. But ow. How can you hurt yourself by clicking? What a loser. But what do we have here? In bars 1 and 2, the melody goes down, then up. Then in bars 5 and 6, it goes up, then down. There has been some melodic development. This ties into the discovery thing again, with the melodic shape here representing a rising curiosity, a slight change in thoughts and beliefs over time, that type of thing. Then the 2 bars that connect the 2 bits of the theme together are really interesting. It's mirroring the shape of the 2 bars before and shares that minim crotchet motif. Then the next bar introduces the rhythm that makes the second half of the theme poignant. It's a very nice way to sew these 2 bits of the theme together. The past part of the theme is going downwards, but if you were to play it on a piano, it's visually going backwards. So when regurgitating a memory, I don't know why I had to use the word regurgitating, I just love it. You're sort of digging down into your heart, but you're also, the past is behind you as well. So yeah, metaphorically, it works. Everything works in metaphor world. Have that on a t-shirt. The melody is utilising a compositional device called a sequence. You get a small melodic idea, then you repeat it, but starting on a different note. This is great because it creates an echoing effect here, and that's sort of what the past does, it sort of echoes within you. In regards to the harmony, it's mirroring the ideas discussed in the melody. In the first half, there are 2 chords that keep being played. What's really cool though is that there's an inversion chord in there. This ties into the idea of discovery because the chord shape is different from the first time round. There's been a change. The chords are G minor, D minor over F, G minor, D minor. And then the second half of the chords are as follows. G minor over B flat, D minor, A minor over C, G minor over B flat, A minor, G minor, A5, D minor. All minor chords except A5, which has no third in there. This creates a sorrowful sound because Harry Potter's parents were killed and all that type of stuff. Just like how the melody is going downwards in the past section, the chords are doing this also. The way this is achieved is through the use of first inversion chords. And first inversion chords are quite unstable chords and I feel like they need to resolve onto a more strong sounding chord. This need to resolve onto a strong chord is like how Harry has the need to connect with his dead parents and find out the truth about them. It also creates a backwards rolling effect, and that's similar to the echoing to the past type of deal. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I had to jump over the sofa, backflip over some pillows and then come back. Okay, here we go. It ends on a perfect cadence, which in context works well because in the scenes it's in, a decision or a discovery is made. A perfect cadence is the strongest sounding cadence, and so works well where there's clarity of intent at the end of a scene. Now to move on to the music cues. The first time the Window to the Past theme is heard is towards the start of the film. To give some context, Harry just blew up his Aunt Marge because she was slagging off Harry's dead parents. So as you can imagine, he's pissed. He goes to his room, kills Hedwig, and looks at the picture on his bedside table. Minus the killing Hedwig bit. The magic picture is of his parents dancing. Let's have a look at the music. Here we have a cluster chord made up of seconds in the strings. This close spacing of the notes is harsh sounding and also sort of constricting sounding. The use of string harmonics also has a harsh, piercing tone. It sonically represents Harry's frustration. The frustration of his living situation, the isolation from his friends, the death of his parents, not having good enough parental figures, having to hide who he really is, having to repress his magical powers. He's got a lot on his plate. Bit of chicken, a bit of peas, you know what I mean? So those harsh, closely spaced string harmonic notes represent the release of those pent-up emotions. We have a drone in the double basses and cellos, which to me represents the monotonous nature of his living situation. He feels like things won't change. The only time he feels a glimpse of joy is when he looks at the picture of his parents. Then along with the harmonic content in the violas, we have the theme playing on the celeste. This utterance of the theme has a semitone towards the start. To me, it's given a nod to the Hedwig theme, which utilises chromaticism, and the Celeste. The Window to the Past theme has taken the thematic baton from the Hedwig theme. Now let's skip 40 minutes into the film where the Window to the Past theme is heard again. I won't analyse this first bit fully, but the placement of it is pretty cool. When Harry isn't allowed to go to Hogsmeade, the theme is heard. And he's in front of the clock. So the feeling of isolation here resembles the feeling of isolation in Uncle Vernon's house. However, the clock there is there for a reason. It's representing discovery over time. It's preempting the next scene where Lupin is talking to Harry about his parents. The cue I'll be talking about is where Lupin and Harry are on the bridge, and Lupin starts to talk about Harry's mum. The instrumentation here is quite interesting. There's harp, recorder and violas to start off with. These instruments, especially the harp and the recorder, make me think of times gone by. Harps date back to around 3000 BCE and recorders were around in the Middle Ages apparently. I just looked up on Wikipedia because where else can you look really? You know what I mean? Well, there's the Horniman Museum. So already these instruments are making people think of the past. This is due to the instruments being part of our heritage. Lupin then mentions Harry's mum, Lily. The timbre, I've learned how to say timbre now. I used to say timbre or something, I don't know. The timbre of the harp used is soft, gentle, innocent sounding. Before we're told the details of what Harry's mum was like, the music is already telling us, basically. She's soft, gentle, innocent. I said before, the theme is like a lullaby. So the music here is telling us that Lily was motherly towards people and wanted to help, basically. Lupin then talks about Harry's dad James and his talent for causing trouble, a talent that has been passed down to Harry. When Lupin says this, the musical texture changes. It gets deeper, as in the mid-range string chords represent the warmness Harry is feeling, knowing that he resembles his parents. There's a counter melody on the oboe. To me, it's representing the cheekiness of Harry's dad James. I think this is because of the harsher nasal timbre of the oboe compared to the recorder. The notes are faster and sound a bit jester-like to me, and it's sequential writing as well, making it a bit playful. There's also crotales, I don't know how to say it, I've only seen it written. There's also crotales on beat 2 of the bar. To me, it's sort of like the bells on a jester's hat. This cue is heard in a scene where Harry and Lupin are talking about the Dementors. What's interesting about the music here is that John Williams and the director made the artistic choice not to make the music comment on the Dementors. Instead, the window to the past theme is heard again. To me, it has two functions for this scene. One, they're talking about Harry's past, so the music is reflecting that. And two, Harry is trying to make Lupin some sort of role model, sensei, a father figure to be vulnerable with, and finding someone to discuss his feelings of inadequacy against the Dementors. What's cool about the music is that the melody is now being played by the clarinet. It reflects that there's been a change in time, location, emotions experienced, that type of thing. The clarinet was established sort of in the classical period, so there's been a literal time jump between the two instruments. More importantly though, the tone quality of the clarinet reflects Harry's emotional experience right now. The clarinet is being played in its clarion range. I don't know how to say it. Is it clarion? Chalion? I don't know. So it's mid to high register, and it's being played quietly. This creates a vulnerable, slightly piercing sound. Harry is saying he's scared of the Dementors, so the weaker sound reflects his fear towards protecting himself against them. It also represents Harry being vulnerable with Lupin. When Harry asks Lupin if he can teach him to defeat the Dementors, the melody is passed to the French horn. This is a pretty important shift. The tonal quality of the French horn is much brighter and stronger than the clarinet. It musically symbolises Harry's decision to become strong and let Lupin be his sort of parental figure. This instrument is then used later on a few times, so the initial placement here is starting a sort of instrumental motif, if that makes sense. The next scene is where Harry casts his Patronus for the first time. If you're a Wizarding World pervert like I am, you know the actual Latin meaning for expecto patronum. It means I await a guardian. I await a guardian. So this is from the Wizarding World website. A Patronus in ancient Rome was someone of a high class who had a patronage relationship with a client who would usually be less rich or lower class. In turn, the word patronage most likely came from the word pater, which means father in Latin. In whatever time, in whatever form, the word Patronus always relates to protection. That's interesting. The etymological root of Patronus, or pater, I don't know, is father. So in the context of this film, the Patronus is sort of, I await a father figure to come and protect me. And that actually happens in the film. Harry hopes for a father to come and protect him. But yeah, we'll get to that later on. How is a Patronus cast? The caster has to think of a happy or powerful memory. The Dementor then feeds on the incantation rather than the person. So a Patronus is a shield, a boundary. And for a child, which Harry is at this moment, its parents are its protectors, its boundary setters. So of course Harry thinks of his parents when he's casting a Patronus. He wasn't even sure if the memory was real, but knowing that his parents protected him gave him enough strength for him to want to protect himself. The French horn makes a return along with the trumpets playing brassy at a loud dynamic. Playing brassy on a brass instrument changes the timbre. It creates a raspy, forceful, powerful sound. This matches the strength of the Patronus. The choir and tubular bells create a somewhat heavenly sound to represent the spell being light magic. The spell is opposite of what the Dementor stands for. Darkness, death, chaos. I don't know. The semitonal clusters in the choir chord creates a shimmering effect that matches the aesthetic of the Patronus. It sounds like the choir is glistening. The avant-garde scalic movement in the strings represents the Dementors themselves. It sounds otherworldly, dark, empty. This is because there is no harmonic information for the audience to latch onto. However, the French horn, trumpet, choir and tubular bell part is overpowering the strings, just like how Harry is overpowering the Dementor. The idea of dark versus light is heard within the music, and that is so cool. You know what I mean? That is just so cool. The next cue is heard quite quickly after the previous one. This time the window to the past theme is on the oboe. The oboe has a more piercing, definitive tone quality compared to the clarinet and recorder. It's one of those instruments, where if you are listening to an orchestral texture, you'll be like, there's the oboe doing its thing. Oh, oboe you. Yeah, that's what you'd probably be thinking. Or just me. That's just me, isn't it? Okay, next one. I don't know why I keep just whacking the devil out of that. Oh my god, I don't know Norm Macdonald, but he was my favourite comedian. He just died. Oh, I'm sad. Oh, okay. To me, the oboe playing here resembles Harry's feeling of accomplishment and certainty towards what he just achieved. Then we have a cool Celeste line harking back to the Hedwig theme to take us into the next scene. Okay, let's skip all the way to the scene where Harry and Sirius are having a chat by the Whomping Willow. What are they chatting about? Sirius is reminiscing about Hogwarts and praising Harry for not allowing them to kill Peter Pettigrew. Basically, he's being fatherly towards him. Again, the theme is played on the French horn. So from this cue and the cues before, I think it's fair to say that the French horn represents the sort of father figure guardian archetype that Harry's trying to find. Now for the Pinnacle part of the film. So if you've watched the film, you know that Harry thought that it was his dad who came to save him and Sirius from the Dementor's kiss. Then time turner shit happened and turns out the person who saved Harry was himself. This really resonates with me. Because as a kid, you're always hoping that like a superhero or like a parent will come and save you from a bad situation, Or if your current situation's a bit you sort of hope that someone will come and fix it for you. This film is saying, fuck that, no one's coming to save you. So save yourself, mate. Save yourself. There's no superheroes. No one can come and fill that empty crevice in your heart. No one's coming to save you. Harry was hoping that his dad would come and save the day. But Hermione was right. No one's coming, Harry. So Harry gave up his childish fantasy that someone was going to come and save him. And he got the fuck out there and sorted it out himself. That's how you do it. So of course the French horn makes a return. It has 3 functions. 1. Harry becoming his own guardian. 2. The French horn here symbolises the metaphorical shield Lupin and Sirius gave him, just by being kind and encouraging. And 3. To me, this part of the film is where Harry has his initiation into adulthood. He gave up believing that someone was going to come and save him, and him giving up hope allowed him to progress into a young man. There is a drone note in the double basses. It represents Harry's newfound strength and it represents the deepness of his new mindset. The choir chords again represent the light magic. However, it hits a bit differently within the context of this scene. It's almost like Harry momentarily becomes a heavenly detergent that blasts away the black mould which was corroding his soul. Who would write a sentence like that and then say it on camera? And here we physically see good winning over evil. So you know how in one of the previous cues there were like weird avant-garde string glissandi things going on? They're not there anymore. The Dementors no longer have power over Harry, so those string things are gone. He knows how to deal with the Dementors now, so that little not there anymore. Pretty cool. In the final cue with the window to the past theme, Sirius has to leave. But before he does, he says Harry looks like his father but has his mother's eyes. This is underscored by the window to the past theme in its most simplistic form. It's reminiscent of the version heard when Lupin and Harry were talking on the bridge. When Sirius says that even though his family is not with him in person, they'll always be in his heart, the music changes. The texture opens out to punctuate the importance of Sirius's message. The theme is heard once again on the French horn to remind us of Harry's newfound strength through defeating the Dementors. It's also here to show that his strength comes from his loved ones also. Then skip a few bars to where Sirius flies away on Buckbeak. The texture opens up even more. There's a bar in there that has a rising arpeggiated line that matches Buckbeak's ascent. Buckbeak! Remember Hagrid? Buckbeak! The theme is heard on many instruments. To me, this is fitting because Harry is carrying his dad, his mum, Sirius, Lupin, and his friends in his heart. So many instruments are playing. He's got many people in his heart. That's what I'm trying to say. Sirius leaving also represents the death of the belief that Harry's guardians are found in the external world. They're intrinsic. He's got intrinsic guardians, you know. We all should have intrinsic guardians, you know what I mean? This is reflected in the music. There's sort of like a non-chord note in there, but it's not a non-chord note. It's a chord extension, but there's no close harmony next to it, so it acts like a non-chord note and then it resolves, but okay. Therefore, it has quite a piercingly beautiful tone to it and acts almost like an appoggiatura. It creates a G-6 chord and creates a bittersweet sound to reflect the bittersweet feeling that Harry's feeling at the precise moment. Then this non-chord appoggiatura note, that resolves upwards, and this reflects Harry's gratitude towards Sirius. And also the ascent of Buckbeak into the distance, into the night. To finish off, the orchestra plays the dominant to tonic notes of the key we're in, making it a strong ending and resolution to Harry's journey. Oh, my back. That's all I could be bothered to write. Honestly, this is the best Harry Potter film. Thank you for not thinking that. It's the best Harry Potter film. If you disagree, tell me which Harry Potter film is your favourite, yeah? If it's not this one, tell me why. Yeah, I'm such a Harry Potter fan, and if this is not your favourite Harry Potter score, tell me which one's your favourite Harry Potter score. Thank you for watching The Film Music Junkie. If you enjoyed it, give us a like. Have a good day. Drink loads of water. Don't forget to dance. Do some dance moves. Listen to your favourite music. Try and get some nature sounds in your ears. Talk to a friend. Okay, that's enough. Bye.